Hi, you guys. Welcome to La Fama Blur. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate you guys listening to the journey, the pages of my life here. Just so you know, unfortunately, we're back in the courts. Today is Sunday. I'm going to post this story today so that you can stay within the current events of what's going on. I don't want to post it any later than today. So, this week, I believe it was Tuesday, I was checking my emails and actually, correction. No, I think it was Wednesday, this Wednesday. I'm checking my emails. Upon checking my emails, I saw something coming from the court. Uh, um, and so, the court of that county where my ex resides. So I clicked on it only to find out that on July 22nd at 9 a.m., I have a court date. So I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened? Apparently, he filed against me that I have not been in compliance with the court order. And I'm going to let you know why he filed. Give me a second. So, normally, when a claim is filed, the defendant, which would be me, would have about 20 days to counter claim. In the midst of all the emails that I get, to be honest, I'm not sure where that initial email went, but I did not see it. And I'm surprised because all these emails also end up in my attorney's inbox. But somehow, I guess he made the assumption that I did not want to counterfile. Um, and so he did send me an email where I confirmed that I received that specific email in terms of his initial claim, but I did not react to it. I did not suggest to him what to do. And so now here we are. We have a definite date in July that I need to appear in court. Okay, so what did he file? He filed against me simply because in 2024 there were 2 days that we did not, well, really a weekend that we did not visit with him. And he and I have been going back and forth with this. When my son visited with him back in March, I said, listen, let's tie in the 2 days or a day here and there. It doesn't necessarily have to be 2 days as long as at some point I fulfill those extra days. He said, no, I'm not going to be able to do it, such and such, my work schedule. Then at that point, I was like, well, maybe we can squeeze in a May visit. But then, because of all the back and forth with him emailing my attorney and all the legal fees I have to pay, I said, listen, I'm not going to be able to travel in May. And so I told him we're going to have to make other arrangements. So he is like a mama's boy. He's like a bitch, forgive my language. He complains about any little thing. Instead of working with me to eventually get those extra days, because it could easily happen over the summer, because over the summer, my son has to spend 2 weeks with him, 2 weeks, 1 month, and 2 weeks the following month. And so within those 2 weeks, okay, let's say, for example, it's not 2 whole days, but it could be 4 hours here, 4 hours there. I don't mind. I'm not trying to play hardball. But this guy, he is after me for whatever reason. At least that's what my attorney says. My attorney says, listen, he is going to find anything to file. And so I told my attorney, listen, this is a waste of the court's time as well. So we need to let the courts know, listen, he needs to stop filing these ridiculous claims, wasting the court's time and mine and money. I just don't get it because the last time he emailed my attorney said, listen, I'm going to have to charge her, meaning me, for every email that I read. So, how about if you stop emailing me and work it out so that I don't have to keep on charging her, which takes away from your son's um, college fund. I thought that would have hit home. Apparently, it went through one ear, out the other. So here we are now. I need to go to court in July, which is really a waste of time because I work for myself. Every time I don't work, I don't get paid. Um, so, going back a little bit, when I received the email, I immediately called the attorney's office thinking that I was going to reach his assistant. He picked up. And so I said, hey, apparently we're on a lifetime commitment here. And at first, he didn't really know what I meant. He was like, no, not really. Once your son reaches a certain age, you know, then he's not, your ex is not going to be able to continue to file, or your son could have a voice and say what he wants, whether he wants to go there or not. And so I said, oh, yeah, I know, but I I just got an email. Have you seen it? He was like, what email? He said, well, my assistant normally prints these emails for me to go through, and she's not here. I said, well, as of 15 minutes ago, I got an email saying that we have a court date in July. And he was like, really? What about? So I had to go through the email, read it to him. He says, oh, it's filed already? I said, yeah, it's official. So we were both kind of shocked by this. Um, but anyway, with all the emails that he's getting, that I'm getting, I'm not surprised that I missed it. It's just, I'm just done, you guys. I'm done. I'm just done. I'm tired. It's been 5 years since beginning of COVID of 2020. Here we are now, mid-year of 2025, and we're still going through this nonsense. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I was married to this man. I made the assumption that he knew my heart. Apparently he didn't, because I'm not, I don't do things that are vindictive. I don't have the time for it. I don't put my energy in things that are not rewarding. So I'm definitely not one who's going to try to figure out how to get back at this guy, because at the end of the day, I'm happy that he's moved on. And I just don't get this poking and poking and poking. It's almost as if, if something happens to me, God forbid, I would pray that he doesn't think that the court is just going to um, immediately reward him, our son, because he's not fit. So at the end of the day, if you really love your son, you should want him to be in the best situation and have a mom who loves him and cares for him and who can take care of him, not try to poke and poke and poke. And he's trying to really bring me down to zero. I mean, in terms of financial, in terms of wellness, that's really what he's trying to do, because ultimately, what would be the gain? What would he be gaining out of doing all this? It doesn't take much to just say, hey, you know what? I know you're busy. I know you have to work. Let's see how we can work out those 2 days from last year. That would be the easiest thing to do. I'm like, so what? We're exes. I don't care. I wasn't born with you. You're not my twin. I don't have to have you for a lifetime. Okay, it didn't work out. You move on, I move on. But to poke and poke and poke and try to see if you could make my life as hard as possible, that's just non Christian like. And he's claiming to be a Christian, which is why I don't use that word as lightly as most people do. I say, you know what, I'm a believer and I'm going to treat everyone with kindness. I'm going to follow the scriptures. But I feel as if he's a hypocrite. He hides behind the word of God, hides behind a title. But yet, and when no one's looking, that's when his true self comes out. I don't get it. And that's what I saw when I was in the marriage. And I was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this nonsense. God's going to have to deal with your heart, and at the end of the day, we all have to be accountable for what we do. And so I'm really, really disappointed that 5 years later, he's still in the same mindset. And I pray to God, I really do pray that God intervenes, pierces his heart for him to have a Saul moment. I don't know if anybody knows about the Word of God. If you're listening to this, there was a time when Saul, that was his name initially, when he kept on prosecuting the Christians, and then somehow, at some point, he had a moment. That's when he became Paul. And he repented. He was, uh, he was definitely sorrowful, really, for the fact that he mistreated a lot of believers. And I'm really praying that that's where this man ends up, where God can pierce his heart for him to see that the life that he's been living is not the right path to take. And so that's where I am, you guys. Here we are, another court date, another time wasted, money that I have to continue to pay my attorney. Um, Last week, he was telling me that I had an overdue balance. Obviously, I'm not the one contacting him. I just sent him about it. It's just, I mean, the numbers just keep on going up. If you can think of a mortgage, just think of living in New York in a small little bitty apartment right down in Manhattan, the heart of New York. Just think of what that mortgage would be monthly, or that rent would be monthly. That's what I'm paying my attorney. It's just nonsense. So, you guys, as you listen to this, if you believe in God, just send a prayer for me. Just send a prayer for me. I thank you for listening in. Thank you. This is La Femme Bleu. I appreciate you. Until next time, stay safe, protect your mind, take care of yourself.